Labyrinth is not a normal photo book. Released by Aperture in 2012, Daido Moriyama's Labyrinth uniquely chronicles not only the photos of the celebrated Daido Moriyama, but the process and what I'm calling the photographic B-sides of some of his most well-known shots to ever be published. The book consists entirely of contact sheets made from the innumerable rolls of film Moriyama has burned images onto during his long and still continuing life's work. As you can imagine, this means there are many photos. Depending on the file format, there can be as many as 60 photos on a single page. But the oversaturation of images is why this book is so Moriyama, and why the name Labyrinth is so deserving. By traversing the contact sheets of this overwhelming volume of work, we get to see what it's like for Moriyama to be out shooting. When Moriyama describes his style in interviews and book forwards, he describes himself as a stray dog, constantly on the move, constantly haunting the streets and back alleys of urban underbellies, most often his native Tokyo. This approach to his photography is all the more evident when we see the consecutive shots he takes through crowds of passerby, individuals on the street, and urban objects like heating pipes and advertisements. On the flip side, the less prevalent photos Moriyama takes that are planned or modeled for are now more evident as well. Within a strip on a contact sheet, the book often contains several shots of a single subject from different angles or different poses, such as these photos of this woman with a heavy shadow behind her, or these photos of the woman with wing tattoos, both two of his more well-known photos. With these inclusions, we see that Moriyama's photography actually has more depth to it than just being candid street shots. While most of his photos are indeed what we call today street photography, Moriyama did and does engage in directed work as well, and we can see him flex those attributes through Labyrinth. There are also some Polaroid scans and contact sheets of medium format film, which is interesting and adds some nice variety, considering we don't see that in much of his publications. The depth and insight provided through Moriyama's contact sheets is combined with his overall masterful photo taking to provide a truly unique and enlightening book. There is a reason Moriyama is one of photography's most celebrated artists, and the photos represented in Labyrinth are a testament to that. So it's hard to talk about this book without the content bleeding into the discussion of the presentation, because it's the uniqueness of the presentation that molds the content and vice versa. But a little more technically, the Labyrinth I alluded to earlier is presented, within a single strip at least, in chronological order. This allows us to see the shots Moriyama took leading up to and after the final shot of the well-known images we associate with him. For example, we see 6 photos in total of the shot of the suffocating mass of people going up and down escalators at a subway entrance. The shots before and after the final cut give us context and an ability to see what Moriyama himself had to consider when deciding what the final shot should be. Otherwise, the presentation kind of is what it is, given the fact that we're looking at contact sheets here. There's not really any fancy design elements, and there couldn't have been, given the content. The info panel wrapped around the cover states that Moriyama selected strips from his contact sheets to be presented, sometimes setting strips from different contact sheets side by side. So, photo selection and order was a consideration, but again, given the saturation of images, those choices may not have been that critical in the presentation of the work. The book achieves its desired outcome by casting the reader into the labyrinth that is Moriyama's work. In Daido, Tokyo, Moriyama refers to his favorite spot to shoot, Shinjuku, Tokyo, as a labyrinth, and the outcome of his time spent there and elsewhere is indeed faithfully reproduced as a labyrinth through this book. The physical structure of the book is actually pretty decent. I'm not sure if there are ever any hardcover versions printed, but the one I have and the ones that I saw available were all paperback, which I think is adequate. The book is so thick that added weight would probably not be a plus here anyway. The jacket does come off, revealing a minimalist spine and cover. As you can see, mine already has creasing along the spine, even though I haven't ever really splayed it open. The binding is spider adhesive, which has held up fine so far. The pages are so closely bound though, that some of the images at the end of the contact sheet are hard to see, unless you really open the book up, which will in turn crease your spine, just one downfall of it being a paperback. A nice addition is that the pages have an alternate finish to them. So one side of a page will be glossy, while the other will be a bit rougher with a matte finish. And this helps keep the pages from sticking together. There's no room on the pages for page numbers, however, which is both annoying and kind of an added element to the labyrinth feeling of the book. To find a specific photo or set of photos, you're likely going to need to thumb through entire sections of the book, unless you've somehow marked the page. Just as a quick note, this was the first photo book I've ever ordered from Amazon, and it will be the last. Putting aside any feelings you may have towards them as a company and what they represent, they are essentially a wholesale retailer who treats all of their products the same, and that treatment is somewhat negligent. The book was clearly improperly stored, as the title on the cover is damaged, and there's visible residue of another copy's lettering on the back, which makes me think that they had them stacked, uncovered, with considerable weight on top of them, which caused the lettering to rub off. The sides of the book were also a little banged up when I received it. Not too long ago I had someone give me another photo book from Amazon, and it was also treated poorly. But of course none of that is Aperture's fault, and I have nothing negative to say about the physical structure of the book. Labyrinth truly delivers in its intention, insight, and range. Because of the format of the book, there might not be much casual appeal, but for followers of Moriyama's work and serious photographers, this is an excellent book and a valuable contribution to the medium. While Moriyama believes that his search for understanding through photo taking is endless, and just as elusive as it ever was, this book might just provide some clues and inspiration for photo book collectors and fellow photographers.